Hi, I'm Sneha.
I'm Yoga.
I'm Dominica. And I'm Kelly, and we are Enactus City.
Enactus City University of London restarted in September 2019 with the foundation of being at home at the most sustainable campus in London. Our work in the community last year was well received, and today we have 29 members and two social projects in motion that are on their way to make a major social impact in the borough of Islington in London.
Imagine buying a piece of clothing. You would probably consider its size, color, and design. But that is not the case for Michelle, the mother of Robert, who is autistic. She also needs to think about how he will put it on. His disability prevents him from dressing himself and requires the help of another person. So she's not only thinking about the design aspect, but also about the functional side. This is an inequality in the fashion industry. At Garmented, we believe that everyone should have easy access to clothing suited to their needs. We are one of the early pioneers in the fashion industry with a mission to make bespoke adaptive clothing affordable, sustainable, and fashionable for people with disabilities.
There are 14.1 million people with a disability living in the UK, and over 1.12 million of them are children. They spend an average of £583 per month, more than a regular household on overall expenses. The adaptive clothing market has a potential market value of $64.3 billion and is projected to be more than $400 billion by 2026. An active city saw this opportunity and thus came government. We identified two major social problems. The first problem is people with disabilities face issues with regular clothing. The need for adaptive clothing is not met in the market, and most available options are dark, boring, and expensive.
The second problem we identified is the waste generated by the fashion industry. In 2020, an estimate of 18.6 million tons of clothing ended up in a landfill. If this trend continues, over 150 million tons of clothing waste will clog landfills by 2050. Fashion waste is costing the global economy more than $400 billion every year. Simply put, for every second you're listening to our presentation, 7.6 to 10 cubic meters of discarded textiles and fabric are being dumped. It is quite an outrage, especially when we know that almost 100% of clothing items are recyclable.
Government works using these two problems as the pivot. We aim to make inclusive adaptive clothing by upcycling good quality clothing and make them from sustainable sources. Then, we aim to reduce the impact of fashion waste by educating the audience about its impact, such as better alternatives, and build a community around it.
To do this, we need the help and support of multiple entities, and this is where our project partner comes into play. We met Shumaya Dewey, a fashion designer from the London College of Fashion, who helps us design and modify our prototypes. We made an upcycled prototype for Robert, who asked for comfortable joggers with extra big pockets. We found a pair of joggers from one of our friends and stitched outside pockets onto them, which we cut from a shirt. Emily, our designer, can be seen working on the prototype in the video. Here are some pictures of the finished product. And here's Robert wearing the pants. His mother said that he adores his new clothes. He can use his pockets individually, and any new clothes that match his hoodies are always a win.
We are currently in talks to partner with schools and organizations for disabled people. With this partnership, we will be able to learn a lot about the problems children with various disabilities face and thus help tailor our prototypes to solve them. The social impact that we aim to achieve is that young people with disabilities get increased confidence, freedom, and dignity by using our products. The economic impact Garment creates is effectively using the materials that are sustainable and recyclable and selling the resulting products at affordable prices. The environmental impact we will create as a result is a reduction of fashion waste. We will measure our success and growth by the number of products made, the number of families that have been impacted, and the weight of clothes that have been prevented from going to landfills.
We want to build a community of responsible and conscious youth who can drive change as they make decisions in everyday life. That is why we created a Garmented Instagram page focused on raising awareness of disability, inclusion, and sustainability in fashion.
The costs incurred are predicted to be transportation and deep cleaning of collective clothing, the cost of adaptations, including materials and labor, and finally, logistics. Product pricing is then done by taking into account all the above mentioned costs and establishing a 30% profit margin on top of it. This allows us to operate a custom fit model for our customers while staying financially stable. Apart from the sale of products and adaptation services, we're also looking at merchandise sales and running community events as sources of revenue. We started the project in November 2019, and in February 2020, we pitched at the Domino's Waste Reduction Competition, raising £200 in grants. In early March, we made our first prototype, and this year we made a second prototype. Garmented is only one of the exciting new projects of Enactus City.
We have been able to continue our impact in the lives of those living with disabilities in our second project, All in Bloom. Imagine being isolated, unable to communicate with the people around you. Autistic spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a developmental disability affecting how individuals perceive and interact with the world. About 1% of the UK population has autism, or about 700,000 people, and 1 in 3 are at risk of experiencing severe mental health difficulties due to the lack of inclusion and engagement within society.
Now imagine the world runs out of food. Resources are scarce, famine becomes an epidemic. Why? The bees. Since 1900, 13 species of bees in the UK have become extinct, and 35 more species are threatened. However, one-third of the global food production is reliant on bees and insect pollinators. It will cost the UK alone £1.8 billion per year to manually pollinate crops, meaning your food will become more expensive.
Enactus City has provided an answer to solve both of these problems: gardening. Gardening can help both the autistic and bee populations. By engaging ASD individuals to help plant bee-friendly plants, we provide a form of therapy that helps develop their social, behavioral, and sensory motor skills while increasing bee habitat availability. Established to empower, this is All in Bloom.
To achieve sustainability and enhance biodiversity, All in Bloom focuses on three main pillars: develop, design, and inspire.
Develop focuses on ensuring the personal growth of ASD individuals through dedicated gardening instruction, as well as the environmental rebuilding and sustaining of the North Antrim Square Garden at City University of London.
Our second pillar, design, focuses on creating tailored gardening sessions for them based on their needs, wants, and abilities. The final pillar is inspire. All in Bloom aims to inspire the wider community by bringing attention to the struggles faced by ASC individuals and the bee population decline.
We had our project pilot at City University of London to raise awareness about the issues we're tackling. From our initial survey, we found that 58% had little knowledge about the bee and pollinator decline, 27% were not aware at all, and only 15% were well aware but oblivious of the impact that it had on our environment and economy.
This year, we released a new survey focused on bee decline statistics and the issues that the ASD individuals face. 55% of the respondents had never heard of bee-friendly plants. 64% were unaware that 70 out of the 100 crops which provide 90% of the food worldwide are pollinated by bees. 77% of the respondents were unfamiliar with autism gardening therapy.
Our partners include Beyond Autism, a collection of schools that deliver transformative and educational experiences to ASD individuals. This year's initiative has started with 2 sixth form students. In guidance with COVID-19 restrictions, volunteers have met the students virtually and engaged them with some activities, including coloring a picture of bees and flowers, reading a picture book about gardening, and playing an online game.
The aim of these activities is to provide a safe environment in which to engage their interest in gardening given today's physical restrictions. One of the students responded favorably, saying he liked the online game about farming and felt happy, even if it was also difficult. For the next couple of months, we're devoted to making All in Bloom a tangible reality. In April 2021, we plan to garden with the pupils at Beyond Autism through online guidance. We will provide them with pots and plant bee-friendly plants sent via mail. In September 2021, we will plan to have a second pilot date where we raise awareness about bee decline and autism gardening therapy.
From November to December 2021, we will finalize our in person session plans and begin our bi weekly gardening activities in the Northampton Square Garden. To kickstart 2022, we plan to host a Bee Awareness Day on campus by holding a honey jar sale.
Sales and fundraisers like these will help supplant the cost of plants, seeds, and soil that we will be supplying to our students. On average, these gardening supplies and other small expenses cost about £42 for, for approximately every 6 students, meaning that at least 14 honey jar pots sold at £3 each will accommodate the cost.
By the end of this year, we aim to have 6 to 8 students achieve their gardening certificates. Our mission is to improve the awareness in City University of London about bee and pollination decline and empower ASD individuals in the process.
This is all in bloom, and by developing, designing, and inspiring, we will empower.
Despite the challenges this year has provided, Enactus City has managed to accomplish a lot. Enactus City has been able to positively impact the lives of children and young people living with physical and mental disabilities and enabling them to fully engage in and reconnect with the communities around them.
We have upheld City University's title as the most sustainable campus in London by bringing these values to our Enactus team. From coming together, creating amazing projects, we can proudly say that this is just the beginning of Enactus City, making a difference in our local community.